What's up, guys? It's your girl Sid, Naturally Being. I'm back to you again with another video, wearing the same shirt as I was wearing in the last video because it's my new favorite shirt. It's my new favorite shirt, so I'm gonna wear it all the time, okay? And you guys can keep your snarky opinions to yourself. Just kidding. There's no snarky opinions up in here. I just want to say to start this video, one of the things I've been noticing lately is that, while my views are still low because I'm not active enough, I get it. Like, I'm not trying to appeal to any kind of algorithm on this channel. Like, I'm trying to just do things my own way and having faith that, like, my own way will appeal to, like, people like me. And if I'm supposed to have like a good following on this platform, it's going to be because of that and not because I'm trying to play some game. Like, I just so resent the whole like, you have to do this to get viewers, and if you want to, like, it's like, no, then I won't get viewers, then I'll just make these videos because I like to make these videos and it gets my thoughts out of my head, and that's fine. Then I won't have a following on here. I'm cool either way. But I have noticed that, my viewership is still low, but the viewership I'm getting is more active and, likes my videos, is watching, is engaging, is commenting. And I just want to say I really appreciate you guys for being here. And it's so nice. It makes me feel like, I have people that understand me that I don't even know. And I just really appreciate the dialogue, and I appreciate, just being here together. So thank you for being here. And yeah, let's get into the topic of today, which is the type of person that I trust the least, that I want to stay away from me the most, is people pleasers and non-confrontational people. Now, let me explain myself a little bit, okay? Because this is not, every single person who is non-confrontational or is a people pleaser, like, it's I'm painting with a broad brush. But in my life, I have consistently found that the people who have done me dirty the most, the people that have been the snakiest in my life, have been the people that are, self-proclaimed people pleasers or self-proclaimed, non-confrontational types of people, afraid of conflict types of people. And maybe that's like a better way to put it. It's like maybe not as much non-confrontational, but afraid of conflict, because you can be non-confrontational, but still not shy away from conflict when it comes to you, right? So yeah, let me edit what I said to people that are afraid of conflict or hate conflict. Because people who hate conflict, are afraid of conflict, and people please at all costs, it's hard to trust that they will have integrity and courage when it's needed, whether it's just in your relationship with them or it's on a broader, bigger scale, because they can't, life and important and big things in life requires conflict, requires confrontation, requires discomfort, and it requires honesty, like brave, courageous honesty, even when it can bring you conflict and confrontation, even when it involves conflict and confrontation. And so if people just are always going to shy away from that, then they're going to do a lot of shady things to, they're going to do a lot of shady things in their relationship with you, whatever that relationship is. So, for me, I experienced this recently with my last job. I made the video about it. I had a coworker who was very afraid of confrontation, very afraid of conflict, very people-pleasing. And I confronted her when I had issues with her work style, and she clearly seethed about that, held that against me, was bitter about that, and then, told my boss that I made her anxious when we worked together and blah, 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 and got me fired. And this was a girl that I had no problem with. I liked, we would, have normal conversations and stuff. I would have never known that, like, when I confronted her, like, it stuck with her like that, or would make her, like, anxious around me, or wouldn't, I would have never known, because, like, in my mind, in me, like, the interaction I had with her was so minuscule, and I've had those interactions with other people. It's so minuscule, but it's in my nature, it's in my temperament that I'm not afraid of conflict or confrontation, and like, conflict and confrontation actually doesn't make me shy away from people. It makes me move towards people, because in my upbringing, it was all the like, sweep things under the rug, pretend everything's okay, don't talk about the elephants in the room, don't talk about the bad shit going on, don't talk about dad's alcoholism, don't talk about what just happened last night because of dad, like, don't talk about how, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine. That's what I grew up around. And it wasn't welcome in my upbringing to be, straightforward and to say, like, what the fuck is going on around here, like, that would not be received well. So you had to, like, pretend everything was fine when it wasn't. So, for me, I am very turned off by people who are people pleasing, and people who are, a little bit like, like, who save face, just to, like, keep harmony and stuff. I am more drawn to people who, like, start conflict with me, because I trust them. Because I'm like, if you have the guts to confront me about something, or have a strong opinion towards me, or challenge me, like, you must, like, care about me. That's how it feels. And it also is like, you're somebody that I can trust, because I know where I stand with you at all times. I know, that if there's a problem, you're going to tell me. I'm not going to have to guess. I'm not going to have to worry. I'm not going to have to, like, so I move towards people who confront me or have conflict with me. And all of my closest friendships have started like that, where, like, we worked together somewhere, or we met in some situation and we had, like, some conflict with each other. And then it was like, it opened the door for a deeper relationship, because it felt like, we already overcame this, like, hurdle in that most people have in relationships. Like, we jumped over it at the beginning, and, now we know, like, we can trust each other. We can go through conflict together. So that's how I operate. That's how I am. And, my therapist tries to beat it in my head that not everybody is like me, and I have to accept that my way does not work for other people. And, I have a hard time with my therapist on that, because I'm like, okay, like, but I am going to be the way that I am. And if people don't receive it well, like, I just don't care, and she's like, well, then you just have to be okay with there being, like, problems in your life, like me getting fired from my job. It's like, if you're going to be more confrontational and you're going to be, like, an assertive, direct person, you have to know that a lot of people out there don't appreciate that, and it may come with consequences for you. But if you're okay with those consequences, then okay, be yourself. But if you're not okay with those consequences, then you need to, like, adjust a little bit and be strategic, not giving up yourself, but just being a little more strategic about the ways that you approach things, And I'm open to that idea, and, I am trying to, like, perfect the way that I approach confrontation and things, I'm never aggressive, but even if you're assertive, a lot of people have a hard time with assertiveness. So anyways, my whole experience at work with this coworker, you know, that to me was like one of those things where I'm like, see, this is why I don't trust people who are non-confrontational and afraid of conflict and people please, because you never know what's going on within them. You never know where you stand, and therefore, like, they'll do shady shit behind your back to try to avoid that confrontation with you, but they still have to do something about their feelings and so, you know, that's going to come out in shady ways. Like an example, if you're in a relationship with someone who is a people pleaser and is afraid of conflict, and you're having problems and you're not getting along, but they're not gonna, you know, confront it, they're not gonna say anything, they're not gonna tell you why they're unhappy, they're just gonna go and cheat. You know, that's a really common example of this. So I am always of the opinion that if somebody has the courage to approach people and say like, hey, here's the problems that I'm having, that is someone you can trust, because so many people are afraid of that. And if somebody isn't, you know, then that's somebody that they're giving all the indications that they are going to be honest and they're going to be able to come to you. Even if they do something bad, horrible behind your back, they're going to come to you because they're not afraid of conflict, and they have this inner will to, you know, to speak on what needs to be change what needs to change, and, you know, confront what needs to be confronted. And so those are the people that people shy away from. And it's funny because those are the people that usually will have your back the most, will, you know, be there for you the most, ride or die for you the most. The people that just always need to be liked, always need harmony and stuff, like, they're not going to go up to bat for you when the going gets tough. They're not going to stick it out with you when you're fucking, like, you know, going through like a psychotic break. Like, they're not gonna, like, they're going to be the ones that step away from you because they don't want to deal with like any conflict or disharmony. You know, the people that can tolerate that, withstand that, and aren't afraid of that, those are the people that you really want in your life. And I just think it's like, it's sad how many people just won't get over that fear of conflict, won't get over that fear of confrontation, and just, you know, resign themselves to like a very surface level, superficial, you know, everything's great, everything's good kind of life. And they just never, like, they never discover that depth and that, like, you know, real, raw, you know, connection that you can have with another person by going into some, you know, harsh and uncomfortable territory with them. And yeah, I think we need to, you know, be wary of people who are afraid of going into that territory, and just, you know, just see that they may not be the ones that you can trust as much. They may not be the ones that you can rely on as much. And you know, we need to stop glorifying and, like, you know, doing this whole everybody should be nice all the time, nobody should ever, like, make anybody uncomfortable ever, and nobody should ever offend anybody ever. Like, no, we need to stop that. We need to see reality for what it is, and see that people who, you know, are real and raw and honest are truly the virtuous people in society. It's not the people that are just, you know, trying to bypass everything and, you know, say everything's just great when it's not, and tell you what you want to hear and sugarcoat, and, like, no. All right, I'm gonna leave it there, and I don't know, just expressing thoughts, that's all. And I hope you guys liked them, and I'll see you guys soon. I'm really on a roll with making videos. I don't know why, but yeah, I'm gonna keep making some more. Have other ideas, you know, and yeah, I'm just really happy you guys are here, and thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.